Hi, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Andrew. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. I'll get to it as soon as I can, and for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And this time it is for Lovelace, the 2013 biopic on Linda Lovelace, whose real name is Linda Susan Borman. And of course, Linda Lovelace was the star of Deep Throat. And it talks a bit about her beginning, how she got into that movie, and a good chunk of it about her abusive husband, played by Peter Sarsgaard. And Linda Lovelace here is played by Amanda Seyfried, which I thought she did a decent enough job. I thought she didn't have a whole lot to work with in terms of really strong moments of acting that she could really catapult scenes with. This is one of those movies that at the end of the day, I just thought was kind of there. Because from what I understand, if you know a bit about what really happened, it was much more intense, it was much more darker and grim, and this kind of like maybe a bit more sanitized version of that. And it feels like it jumped a lot because as many times it'd be like, oh, we're 6 years later. Now here we're 6 years later. And I'm like, this seems like there's some information that we're missing that would really make this a more stronger whole of a film. No pun intended with the holes. But I also felt that some actors were just wasted and could have been utilized more. But, I mean, it was a short film. It was a little under 90 minutes. So I wouldn't say I was that bored with the film. I thought the acting was decent enough. You did definitely get the gist of the story of what had happened, which, to be fair, I knew next to nothing about it. Watched the film, then I did a little bit of research on my own afterwards, so at least I have a little bit more knowledge. I don't know if this film did anything when it came out. I don't think critics were in love with it, and I can see why watching it. I didn't hate the film, but yeah, it starts with her mom and dad. Her mom is played by Sharon Stone, and her dad is played by Robert Patrick. So I mean, wow, Robert Patrick is in this. I love Robert Patrick. He doesn't have a whole lot to do, though. I mean, he's barely in the film, so I thought it was kind of a waste of his talent. And Sharon Stone, it seemed like she'd be in it more than she was. I mean, she's in, I guess, the parts that matter, but I don't know, I just thought her and Robert Patrick would be a bit more involved in the movie. I don't know how else to put it. But pretty much the mom, I guess you say Sharon Stone, she's more of... She appears a few times later, but more of the inciting incident as to what led her to leave. Her being Linda Susan Borman, where she feels like she's stuck living with her parents. She meets this guy, Chuck Trainer, played by Peter Sarsgaard, who seems nice at first and teaches her about lovemaking, and even later on teaches her about deep throating, where he makes her do it. Oh, maybe you're just not good at it. Which I'm sitting there going, okay, that right there is a red flag. If anyone is like, maybe not good at it, bye-bye, I'm good at this. You want this up your ass? I could be good with that too. I could do it with this. I hit you right in the eyes. I could be doing this. I could be good with this. Okay? Want some of that? Huh? I'd be good with this. What do you think about that? I'd be good with all, this, or this. Which one do you want? I could be good with a lot of them. He's got a brother too. But I guess because she's a bit more naive at this point. But there comes to a point where she comes home late and the mom slaps her saying you're late, and then she leaves, moves in with him. And that's what I mean. Then it like cuts to like this time later or months later or years later, and it feels like we missed big chunks of the story when it does that. Because pretty soon after, then it's, oh, well, Chuck got arrested and they say it was prostitution that he was with, but he says it's a lie and we need money. And then pretty quickly gets her into the porn film Deep Throat, where he knows this guy, and the director is Hank Azaria, which is interesting to see him play that kind of part. And he shot a film because they have their doubts, and then they see that she can deep throat, and they go, oh, okay, we'll use her. Then it kind of just jumps into the making of the film, which I would say that was kind of the more interesting part to me, was the behind the scenes, the making of the film. Like the conversations before of, women we want, we want them a bit more, they may be more fake, and maybe we'll be afraid their tits will light up like the Hindenburg if we light a cigarette around them, but that's what people want. And then they see and they go, oh, well, okay, this girl has a gift. And like Adam Brody, who's been in a lot of stuff, he plays Harry Reams. And they do like a scene, and he kind of freaks out, and Hank Azaria's like, what's going on? What's going on? This is spoilers. What's going on? And he's like, I came. And he's like, what? You did what? Oh, I'm sorry, give me 3 minutes, I'll be back. And she's like, did I do anything wrong? And they're like, no, you did anything wrong, no. But I'm trying to sit there going, so is she that kind of out of it, that this guy came in her mouth and she just, oh, did I do anything wrong? It kind of like wanted to know a bit more about why her psyche is like that. I mean, you can infer because of her background with the parents, but that's almost kind of quickly gone through to get to this stuff, and that's why I'm kind of, it feels like this is a movie that if you don't go with these deep bits of business, that we need a bit more deeper connection, deeper depth into the mind, the psyche of Linda Susan Borman, into Linda Lovelace. Because then one of the guys, the character's name is like Tony Romano. Yeah, this husband died. Boyfriend husband's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, so just tell him we need some film and get him out of here. And then it cuts to the film is a huge hit. It made $30,000 in 7 days. Talk show hosts are having a laugh over the term deep throat. Bob Hope, Johnny Carson. She's on the radio promoting the film. She goes to her premiere. Hears people laugh in the audience, as they're meant to, because there's some goofy stuff in that film. James Franco plays Hugh Hefner, which I'm like, really? I thought that was a weird choice. Like, really? He's Hugh Hefner in this? I just thought it was a bit weird. Is that okay? Never thought I'd see James Franco as Hugh Hefner. And there wasn't really any makeup or anything. He just looked like James Franco and pretty much just talked like James Franco. So it's like, okay, I guess. Briefly meets Sammy Davis Jr. I'm like, okay, she met Sammy Davis Jr. Now maybe there's more to that story, but it's not in the movie, if there is, with the Sammy Davis Jr. stuff. I thought there'd be more to the Hugh Hefner stuff. He pretty much says, you could be an actress. I'm not just talking about adult actors. You could be an actress. But that doesn't really lead to anywhere. Because she doesn't really try to go for other acting parts, or so it seems. some producers want her for Deep Throat 2, 3, and 4, and she's like, nah. But just then it cuts to 6 years later, and Eric Roberts is in the film for one scene where now it's 6 years later, and she has to take a polygraph because she was going to write. She wrote this book called Ordeal. I guess back then you had to take a polygraph and ask questions about the book to be able to then publish the book. I'm sure they don't do that nowadays, but I didn't know they did that back then. But that's what I mean, like this jump in between it. And then it goes back, and then it's trying to say, oh, things were not so sunshine and roses. This guy, Chuck, beat the shit out of her. Whether they're having sex and he's like choking her and she's telling him, hey, stop, that's too rough, but he won't. Or he hears that she wanted a raise, but you didn't tell me about it, so I'm going to put you in this water that's super cold. Or he just pissed at her, so he tries to get her into a room where other people will screw her. But yeah, it feels like this is held back. And again, from what I looked up, yeah, apparently it's a much more of a intense story. And I guess they felt that'd be too much for the viewer, but at the same time, if this is a very serious story, then you gotta take it in a very serious manner. And here it kind of feels like they're almost half-assing it. Like, you can't get half pregnant. You're either pregnant or not pregnant. And I think they should, if they really wanted to do that, go that route, then go forward with that route. Instead of just like jump into 6 years, jump in this and that. And then Sharon Stone pops up a few times. One where she hears a bit of reference to Linda Lovelace on like Johnny Carson. She gets upset. There's a bit where Amanda Seyfried goes home and tells her, and she's like, no, you can't get divorced. It's against our religion or whatever. Robert Patrick is wasted. I mean, he has one decent scene where he's on the phone with her and he's like, I saw your movie. That's certainly, I'm like, no, that certainly can't be my little girl. I'm assuming he didn't know she was in it. Which, I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like, it's a popular movie. He's a guy. He would see it, and then you realize that your daughter's in it. Yeah, that would freak anyone out too. But I wish we would have seen more Robert Patrick. Good scene that he gives acting wise, but other than we get to see him a little bit at the very end, that's it. The producer, Tony Romano, finds out what's going on, threatens Chuck and whips the shit out of him and tells him never to see her again. And I'm like, so it was that simple? Like, he got threatened once and then he never saw her again? It seems like there'd be a bit more to it, that it would be a bit more complicated. Like, he would try to sneak and snide his way around. They don't even go into the fact that he actually, I think he hooked up with Marilyn Chambers, another popular adult actress. But they don't really dive into that. They don't really dive into what happened to the Chuck guy later, other than some text at the end. But I guess it is called Lovelace. But I mean, that is a big part of the story here. And she's able to publish the book Ordeal. And you think, okay, maybe when you did like a reaction to what Hank Azaria's character, how that director feels that this was going on, or the producer, or some of these other guys, and how they feel. Harry Reams, like, do they have a reaction to it? Or no, they kind of, at a point, just kind of disappear. We never see them again or hear from them again. You think at the very least the one producer guy that helped her by whipping the shit out of Chuck, you think at least there'd be like one moment with him, like a phone call, hey, how you doing, kid? Like something of that nature, maybe. Well, it's based on real life, Matt. Well, I mean, true, but all these movies have fictitious shit in it, so you never know. That's, I mean, the movie was just kind of there. Just kind of mediocre, kind of there for me. You know, I didn't hate the film, but it's one of those things I'm watching, I'm going, okay, you know. It was short. I don't think the acting was bad. I think Amanda Seyfried, some didn't like her acting. I thought she did fine, but again, I don't think there is enough meat in the material, no pun intended, that to really drive. It seemed like there's things that were not. It feels like there's stuff left on the table that they could have gone further with. I mean, it would have been interesting to see a bit more about the making of Deep Throat. Like, were there any other bits you could film about the making of Deep Throat, or was there stuff more with Sammy Davis Jr. and Hugh Hefner, or did they just pop up just because and then we never see them again? Did Chuck really leave that easily after a whooping from the producer, or was there more to it than that? I mean, hell, we don't even see her meet her new husband. It just cuts to 6 years later, and all of a sudden she has a husband and she has a kid. I'm like, oh, she has a husband and kid? Like, you think maybe that'd be an important part to showcase in the life of her meeting this guy, maybe not trusting him because she's had bad luck with men, but able to meet this guy, and maybe eventually she had to tell him about her past. Because eventually this would have had to come up. I gotta tell you, I'm writing this book and blah blah blah. And maybe like these moments, they really dive into her psyche and dive into her thought process. And did she ever blame her mom because her mom told her you can't divorce? And she even says on this interview later in the film, yeah, I was told to stand by your husband no matter what. So in a way, it was Sharon Stone's fault as well. But I don't know, I just felt like there's a bit left on the table that they could have dived a bit more into. And like I said, I don't think it's a bad film. It's just kind of, I saw it once. I'll never see it again, and I don't know if I'll ever remember it. And even like sex nudity wise, you do see a little bit of Amanda Seyfried's nipples or chest, but if people think there's going to be a lot steamier movie, it's really not. Because there is about someone who. And the look of the film wasn't too bad. It feels like it's trying to look a little bit like Boogie Nights. But Boogie Nights, I will say, has a bit more of a stronger, not just stronger aesthetic, but stronger script and follow through of its story, I will say. Like, if you want to see a better film that deals with the porn industry, you just go watch Boogie Nights. Only sadly, this is based on, real life, because sad to hear what happened to the lady, and I think she passed away 2002. Because they do mention that. I bet she was only paid $1,250 for Deep Throat, but they say it grossed $600 million, but she only got paid a little over $1,000. So go figure. Anyway, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye for now.